Okay, so how's it going? What I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be painting the roller door, and just wanted to show you my method. I guess I've never done it before. I haven't watched any other videos on YouTube or whatever. I always do things my own way. So masking off the area that you want first. So mask off areas that you don't want to paint, and so what I've done here is pretty much just mask off a certain area, not the whole area, because I'm only going to be spraying in this zone. Move the roller down, spray again, and I'll get to a certain point on this side, and obviously when the roller's all the way down, I can't paint any further up. And that's what you're probably thinking, I need to mask it all the way. No, because that's when I go on the inside of the garage and paint it from the opposite side. So I'll show you that. And obviously you're going to want to wash the roller door first. I just used a touch of laundry detergent in a bucket, not overpowering, just enough to give it a little bit of bubble in there, just so there's something in there other than just water. And then I used the cloth and I've gone wash, and made it all clean. And yeah, ready to go. Let the compressor catch up a little. There's only a little compressor. Okay. So with mixing how I said 50 ml of water with the basically about a litre, that depends on the paint you're using too, because I use green on a different part of the house, and it basically needed more like 80 ml for that paint. It was a little bit thicker than the paint I'm using right now, and that was enamel based, not acrylic based. But they were both, no, that was an acrylic water base, not an enamel water base. I don't understand house paints too well. I'm more of a car paint person, but that's why I've got the equipment I do have. But you know, you do what you can with what you got. Okay, so that's the first part of the first coat from the outside, and I'll do the rest on the inside, but I'm going to do a second coat on what's there first before I go inside. So I'm going to give that half an hour to dry, bring the door back up and do the same again. Well, it's typical, isn't it? Storm coming over. So still got about 15 minutes to wait before I can do a second coat, so I'm hoping to get that on before the storm comes in. But we'll see how we go. If not, I'll have to continue this tomorrow. Well, as quick as the storm came, the storm's going. I did blow a gale when it was here, but thankfully, you can see the rain went from the opposite side of the house, so didn't get any water near my paint today. So thank God for that. I can finish the painting. Well, I have to move the camera, as you can hear, it's starting to rain. But before I do, just to show you with this paint, so there's no exact measurement, that's all I'm using. There's about that much water, I'd say it's about a 50 ml. About that much water in the litre of paint, makes it thin enough to paint with. Unfortunately, I can't close the roller any further than that for a couple of hours, so it's going to have to wait until later on before I can finish this job off. And I should be able to finish off this afternoon. Okay, so going to continue with painting inside now. Now this is just something that I've just made out of cardboard quickly. I've already done one roller door with it. So both sides of the roller door, so what, basically you slide it in and it latches down and holds it in place. So as it, for when you're spraying the roller door on the inside, you've got to get to the sides, right? So, but you don't want to overspray past that. So stick it up like this. And that's basically it. You see that there? That's going to save me overspraying past the roller door and onto the bricks. And you don't get a lot of overspray from water-based paint, I've noticed. You don't really have to like cover the cars or nothing like that. The paint pretty much goes to where you want it. And all I've got to stand on is a couple of crates and a plank, so I can stand up, to the height I need to be able to spray. And this side here where the motor is, I've had to do a bit more tape and a different way of cardboard on that particular one. The other roller door doesn't have a motor, but basically just tape it up and cover it up the best you can, just so you prevent overspray going next to it, so that it looks a bit nicer, not having overspray next to it. And I guess it doesn't really matter if you've got overspray next to it in a garage, but it just does look better. Again, I've mixed up to about 1 litre and that 50ml, like I showed before. That's about 50ml. It's just a rough guess. It could be more or less, I don't know. I'm just guessing it's about 50ml. That was a mix that I found that was that worked for me. If it didn't spray properly again, if I was spitting, I would have added probably about half of what I've already added, just to thin it up a little bit more until I was happy with how it was coming out of the gun. Just getting the corners all the way to the edge. I couldn't do that where it was before. I've got to wait half an hour again before I can go for a second coat on that, and it's looking really well. When I'm spraying, outside, it was okay, well ventilated, and you're probably wondering where I'm not wearing a mask, and I probably should be wearing a mask. And so because I'm not wearing a mask doesn't mean that you shouldn't. Wear all the protection stuff and whatnot, each to their own. I chose not to, but when I was spraying there, I wasn't constantly breathing. I was holding my breath and taking short, let go, come in, go, let go, like that. I was just mostly holding my breath while I was spraying, because that's how I chose to do it, instead of just constantly breathing. Once I finished doing that, I ducked off inside and just had a coffee. Come back inside here. I've also got 3 fans going, so there's constantly air flowing around here to not only just to dry up the air quicker, but also dry the paint as I'm painting it quicker. And there's a bit of a breeze on the outside, so that's going to help the paint dry quicker on the outside. I masked off on the roller doors inside the channels as well, not just on the outside on the brickwork that you saw, but I also masked off on inside the channels. And I've got a little bit of overspray there on one of the rails here that I'm going to clean up, so I'll show you the clean up there. Water-based paint is the worst paint to clean up. I hate the stuff. And if you get on the cement, it gets straight into the cement. It's horrible stuff. At least with car paints, you can drop a bit of paint on the ground, a bit of degrease or whatever, hose it off and job's done. But water-based paint straight away sinks into the cement, and you've straight away got yourself a stain that you've got to constantly work at. It's just a pain in the bum. And to clean the gun afterwards as well. Better off getting yourself one of those $50 guns to do this job with, and not use a good spray gun. That gun that I'm using right now actually happens to be a gun that was bought for me as a present, but because it's 2.8mm, I never used it, and because I've got my 1.2s, 3s and 4s that I use rather than something that's 2mm, but always held onto it because I never know if I'm going to spray enamel, so I decided to use it for house paint. And it's not doing too bad a job. For myself, I'll probably go and buy a gun. Next time I have to do a job like this, I'll probably go and buy one of those corded guns, electric guns that you get from your hardware store, just to do this type of job with. That way you don't have to worry about adding water to your paint to thin it down, and just put it in and go. Yeah, so pretty much I've just got another coat to go, and we're pretty much done here, and I'll give you a look what it looks like on the outside. Quick look here. There you can see there's no overspray onto the metal bracket there. Put the camera on, there we go. A little bit of overspray I had on the bricks. Just use a wire brush to get the overspray off the bricks. So I did have a little bit. I went over the margin of where I wanted to go. So there's a little bit of overspray there still. But the brick underneath it, I've already gone over it with a wire brush. But so there's no overspray around there. That was all good. I got that roll all done. And that roll all done, which I'll roll it down a second and take some photos. Anyhow, that's how I did it. It's effective. A few pointers there on, just simple with the cardboard. Make it so it covers the end of the roll door and so forth. If you found this clip helpful, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.